Man, listen. I just beat Black with Wukong, and I'm sitting in front of my computer, just absolutely speechless. The game is an absolute fucking masterpiece. I don't care what anyone tells you. I don't care whatever hate you hear. The game is an absolute massive fucking masterpiece. I I have not been moved like I have been moved playing this game since God of War Ragnarok. And before that, Ghost of Tsushima. It seems just this game. It's hard for me to put in words. I had extreme high expectations for this game. Extreme. I have been waiting for this game since the original trailer of this game dropped during the 2020 pandemic when the PS5 wasn't even launched yet. I was waiting for this game. I saw the first trailer. I've been waiting. And this game blew past my expectations. Absolutely blew past it. I was expecting a nice, cool game to play that will take my time. I didn't expect this game to change my life. And I'm not, listen, I swear to you guys, I'm not over exaggerating. This game is making me look at things completely different. I've always liked the Chinese culture, Chinese mythologies, but it makes me look at China such a different way. The story that this game was able to bring in a video game is absolutely ridiculous. I didn't play this game on stream because I had to experience this game myself. Because when games like this comes out, I don't want to stream it. I don't really want to entertain people or try to hold a conversation. I just want to immerse myself in the universe of this game. And I immersed myself just to show you guys I'm not bull crapping when I tell you how much I love this game. This game has only been out for a week. This game has only been out for a little over a week, and I put almost 60 hours into it. I'm pretty sure it's a lot more than that. I'm pretty sure now, because it was 59 hours before I played the game. But then I'm pretty sure I've been playing for about 2 to 3 hours. So it's about 60 hours now. Man. And I haven't 100%ed this game yet, which I'm going to do. I'm definitely going to do. I'm definitely 100% in this game. What I'm talking about. This game. This freaking game. Oh, man, this game. Man. The story that it told was so gripping. It was seriously a emotional epic. The main character of the story doesn't speak a single word, but my God, the emotion that came from his encounters with everybody in the game. Just so I can just put in perspective and just tell you guys what's going on in the story so you understand pretty much. So the beginning of the game starts off with the Monkey King, Son Wukong, and he's being confronted by the Celestial Court, pretty much gods, and they're coming to attack his mountain. And he goes out there to defend the mountain, and in the process of defending the mountain, he ends up losing the fight. He ends up losing the fight. There's something that you see in the fight as he's clearly winning, but something happens that makes him like almost hesitate, like he's in pain, and one of the guys was able to make the finishing blow and pretty much kill him. So then, I think 200 to 500 years passed, and it's now starring the main character, a no-named monkey disciple that's called a Destined One, that looks just like Wukong, and he goes on his adventure to bring Wukong back. And You go to different places of these people who have the different relics of Wukong, and you meet so much. There's so much rich lore in this story. You like the first person you fight is a bear who like knew Wukong all those years ago. The second relic um, belonged to this one like Buddha shaman. That really nice lore that goes behind it is that um, his head is on display in a a British museum, and to pick on the British for being, grave robbers, because that's what they are. They're grave robbers. The game, if you play it in English, the guy who helps you, he has the guy who in the second act who's helping you. His head, he doesn't have a head, and uh, he has a Scottish voice, and you know how the Scots do not like the Brits. So that happens. Then the second one, the third act is pretty much like the third act is when the real story starts picking up. You see that there's a Buddha. There's another guy who's pretending to be a Buddha, and not just a Buddha. He wants to go up against the Celestial Court too, and this is like the first time in the story where you're like, oh, okay, you're actually saying this game actually has a real legit story, because there's a one of the people from the court. She talks about like, oh, the destined one, and he's like, oh, what is how can he be the destined one when he doesn't even know what he's destined for? And it starts bringing up that there are like legit political disturbing things happening in the Celestial Court. It just wasn't Black Myth, it just wasn't not Black Myth. Wukong just fighting for his country. Like, there's a lot of people that want to go against it. And then the fourth act, that's where you see like, I'm pretty sure you guys know about Dragon Ball Z. There's a character on the show called Oolong. In the third act, you meet the character that Oolong is based off of. It's a pig that was like one of Wukong's closest friends, the one that never betrayed him. Because at the end, all of Wukong's friends betrayed him at the end, except this one. And he helps the destined one along. And in the fourth act, you find out, you start diving into his story. You find out that he originally was just a human. He wasn't a pig man, but he was cursed by someone from the Celestial Court, and they turned him into a pig man because he was chasing after. It was like a woman he was chasing after. And then, this entire time there was a girl that he always liked, and he ignored her. And when he became a pig, the girl that he ignored still loved him. And you find out the girl that he, was ignoring, it's a spider. She's like one of those spider like creatures, like half human, half spider creature, and like she legit loved him. Like in the act, like during the act, it seems like she's like manipulating him and doesn't care. But then when you see the actual backstory, she legit loved him, but he chose to follow Wukong and left her behind. And the Celestial Court didn't like that she did that and punished her. They took her beauty away. I mean, this story is freaking sad, man. This story is so sad. He was supposed to, and he left her on her wedding day, and she's still holding on to that. When I talk about, oh my God, just thinking about it again, it's like giving me goosebumps. Like, it's legitimately giving me goosebumps, because I'm like, this part of this game, I'm like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Like, the first two acts and a little bit of the third act, you're like, okay, this game is it's a fun combat game, all that stuff. But then when the actual story starts kicking in, you're like, my God, this is a sad story. These people, if you go up against these Celestials, man, they will destroy your life. And they won't just destroy your life, they'll destroy all the lives of your loved ones. I mean, Jesus, man. So, and in the fifth act, you meet the Bull King, who was Wukong's closest friend, absolute closest friend. But he kind of betrayed Wukong at the end. Like, not at the very end. I mean, not really like at the end, but like at the very end when Wukong was dying. You find out that They fought together against the Celestial Court. And when Wukong died, oh man, they punished him. Oh, they punished him hard. They forced they forced him to marry one of the women from the Celestial Court, and but she loved him, and they forced her to get pregnant with his kid so they could control him. I mean, God, when you talk, and then the boy grew up with such hatred in his heart because in this story, the boy rebels against his father because he wants to go fight against the Celestial Court and Wukong. He wants to fight against all of them. He's like, F these people. And the bull guy is like, hey. The bull king is like, hey, you don't know the wrath that can come down from this stuff. His son grew up with such hatred because he can feel that resentment between the two. And then he adopted a fox demon's daughter. And he showed the daughter so much love because it was almost like the child that he wanted. The child had there's no control, and like I said, the boy felt more and more resentment. It's such, man, to see, and in the fight, for the Act 5 fight, you're fighting the Bull King's son in front of him. He's like this giant creature. He's like a giant bull, humanoid. But he's so injured, he's like laying on the side of a mountain. He can't move. He literally can't move. So he has to watch his son die. Oh. And when I talk about one of the most badass boss fights in the entire game, my goodness, that fight was so badass. And then the fight at the end, the final act, that was Act 5, 6th act. 6th act is about finally bringing back Wukong. They go back because now they have all of his relics. Now they got to go back and bring back Wukong. And when they, there was different challenges, different bosses you have to fight, they regain Wukong's celestial armor, and you gain back his staff, and you when you do that, you finally go back to where Wukong is, and the Celestials are trying to stop you from reawakening him. So when you get there to where Wukong's body is, you enter his mind, and you find out that that there were 6 artifacts, and they're like, "What do you mean there are 6 artifacts? They were only told 5." And he said, "No, there was one last artifact, pretty much his soul. That Wukong lost his soul during that fight. He lost what it meant to be himself, and that's why he lost." That's what my take from it anyway. I could be completely wrong. But so when you fight him, a pretty hard boss fight. First you fight like a stone version of him. Very hard boss fight. Me, I was making it hard on myself because I was using the other armor. I fully spec'd out this one armor, which I'm going to get into later on about my review of this game. There's an armor I picked out that was like perfect, like I was really good at doing perfect dodges, and it gives you like bonuses for doing that. So I was using that armor, and I was getting my ass kicked. And I was like, damn, this boss fight is hard. But I said, man, maybe I need to wear the actual like Wukong celestial armor. But when I find out when you wear the Wukong celestial armor, it like has like extreme special abilities, especially against that final boss where it does like extreme damage. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I was supposed to wear it. So when you beat his the inner mind of Wukong, you reawaken him, and now you have to fight Wukong himself. And masterpiece of a boss fight. When you gotta fight yourself, this man is doing all the spells that I can do. The man is freezing me. Man, listen, man, what a fucking boss fight. And when I tell you, I barely won at the end, it was so satisfying. It was so satisfying. But pretty much what you find out is that, yeah, Wukong lost himself. He's been dead. And Wukong can't come back. They always thought that, maybe if they bring this stuff, Wukong will come back. No, Wukong will never come back. That Wukong is dead. The next person is aligned, is the destined one. and like and to be honest, when you go through the story of Black Myth Wukong, which I loved about the story, they painted Wukong in a heroic light, but also they showed that he made a lot of mistakes. He did a lot of bad decisions, and like they said, the Destined One is a much better fit to be the Monkey King. He will lead in a much better light than Wukong did, and that's pretty much how the game ended. I know that's not the 100% ending. I'm going to get it, but I want to go into one of the other highlights of this game is the freaking combat. The combat of this game is great, even though there's only one weapon in the entire game, which is a staff. But there's like different heads, like headers you could put on the staff. Like you could put a spear header. There's different stances, different ways you could do it. But it's like, in my opinion, combat never got boring. Like I know there's people out here say, "Oh, all you're doing is pressing square and all that stuff," but it's pretty much in Elden Ring and other Souls games, you're just pressing R1, R2, L1, L2. Yeah, just because the button is an actual face button and it's not a trigger doesn't mean the thing is simple. But like in the game, there's so many different ways to play the game. There's so many different ways, so much upgradability, so much upgradability. There's spells, there's transformations where you can literally transform into a legendary. Because in the game you fight legendary beings, and you can transform into them. Like one of the first one, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen. The guy with the flaming staff. He's one of those people. There's there's so many different ones. There's a dragon that you can become. The one I love to use was the tiger, like this blacksmith tiger. Loved his transformation. And when you transform, the theme song changes. Mm. But yeah, there's other transformations like the minor transformations where you can just do a special attack. There's like in the game there are like spirits that are like wandering, and like you have to put them to rest. And when you put them to rest, you can transform into them and only get the ability. They also give you like a little bit of a buff. There's like legendary items you can wear. Like there's a flaming cloak. There's a fan that can cause tornadoes. There's like a bell that causes concussions. There's different things you can attach on yourself that increase your strength, defense. There's just so much in this game. Armor, it's so much. Like it's almost like you have to play the game for me to fully get into it. But another thing I really loved about this game, absolutely loved about this game, is that you can respect your character at will. And what I mean by that, almost every RPG game you can respect, and respecting pretty much means you can, change how the way your character is built. Like, RPG, when you put this much stuff into like, a fighting stance or strength or dexterity or whatever, you can change it. But most things you have to pay to respect it, or you can only do it only like with a rare item. Black Myth Wukong, you can literally in mid-fight just be like, well, I don't know about mid-fight because I never did it, but like it's any moment you can just be like, yeah, I'm going to take 1 point out of this and put it in here. Like that is something that I think more and more games need to do moving forward. You shouldn't punish your people for wanting to play a certain way and might change their mind. Some people, like, good example, like Elden Ring. Elden Ring, love that game, love Elden Ring. But one of the things with Elden Ring is that, let's say you play as a strength build and you no longer want to play as a strength build. You have to have this certain item. First, you have to fight one of the hardest bosses in the entire game. You have to beat one of the hardest bosses in the entire game. And then you have to have a certain item. And then you have to also pay on top of that to respect your character. Like, that's just too much hassle to do that. Like, just make it free. Like, there's no reason for it to be this difficult. It's just, come on, guys. And that's one of the things I loved about this game, Black Myth Wukong. And I mean, it's anything. You can respect anything. And it's one of the best things that is about this game. The environment, the game, this is a beautiful game. The graphics on this game are absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Best looking game I've ever seen in my life. Top tier graphics. first next gen game. I have a 4090, and there's a lot of times during the game where it's bringing my 4090s to his knees. And man, there's scenes where it's like, especially when you're standing over water, you can see the reflection. Like, YouTube will not show you guys how beautiful this game is. You'll have to play it yourself, and really, you'll actually have to play it on a high-end PC. A high-end PC for you to truly get the experience of what this game is like. Um, like I said, the graphics of the game is great. The combat, I like the environments, even though it's like it's not open world. But I'm happy that the game is not really open world, because I feel like this game should not be open world. Have it like it's more of like a open-ish world. It's linear, but there's different places to go. You can't just. It's not like Elden Ring where you can go wherever you want. It's more of you have to go down a set path, and there's different paths to go there where you can find secrets and different items. You know, one of my favorite things about this game is alcohol is your health. Freaking funny. I want to get a little bit into, so the game. Like I said, of course, the game is not perfect. It has some flaws. There are some flaws in the game, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like they don't. There's no flaws. One of the flaws in the game is sometimes the camera is just sucks. Some, especially like the bigger bosses. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes like you can get in a corner, and then it's hard to get to the boss. Sometimes the lock-on system kind of sucks, especially when there's like multiple enemies. Like, let's say there's like two enemies in front of you, and there's two enemies in front of you, and in between them is an enemy. It's like in between the two enemies, there's another enemy, but it's behind them. In their lock-on system, you would think it would go from the enemy on the right, middle, to the left. Their lock-on system is more of like a tier system, where it's based off of where they are linearly, and it's kind of confusing because no other game does it like that. So I'll be like fighting some enemies, and I'm trying to get this enemy that's like hanging in the back, that's like an archer or something, walk onto him, but it will just keep. I'll have to like cycle through all the enemies until it finally gets to the archers, and it's like a hierarchy system. I kind of hope like with a patch, later on, when if they make DLC or whatever, even though they even need to make DLC to put this a patch, like patch that out, make it a little bit better. Um, One of the things also is that like when using medicine, sometimes it's not that responsive, and it's not like it's a skill thing. I'll literally be pressing the button, and I see on the screen that the feedback is happening, and he's not taking the medicine. And sometimes it's gotten me punished by bosses because of that. Cause I'll be like pressing the button, like, hey, take this, take this. I'm pressing it, like I can see the feedback on the screen, because when you use your when you bring up the medicine thing, it will show it, and it will see that you pressed it, selected it, and it's just he's not taking it, and that's something that they really need to fix. It's not a deal breaker. It's just every game has a little bit of their jank. It's not. It's something that sometimes a little frustrated me, but not really made me not want to play the game. Um, what else? There was one part of the game. It was not. It was an optional part, but there was one part of the game where I got pissed off. There was one part of the game. Oh my god! It's like there was like a bridge that you had to cross. It's one of the first times in the game where you could fall off the fucking stage, because most 95% of the game you can't fall off the stage. You can't fall to your death. But there's two parts in the game that you could fall to your fucking death, and those two parts of the game got frustrated. And it's not frustrating because of the game. Elden Ring has those moments. So don't, you Elden Ring glazers, don't come into the comments and be like, you see, it has this. Elden Ring has those problems too. Every Soul game have those parts. It's just ironic that it's in this game too. What else I did? There was one gripe where I saw where people were saying that they had a hard time hitting big bosses. I never had that one. There's people that I know that tell me that the game crashes on them. Never once have I had an issue with the game. There's like one little bug though that like happens sometimes that like I'll go through the menu through items way too quickly, and then like it would disappear, or either that like whole menu would like disappear, like there's nothing on the menu that you can move through, or like the cursor to move through the menu will get stuck somewhere. And it's an easy fix. You just unpause the game and bring it back to the pause menu. It's fixed, so it's not like a bad problem. It's not game breaking, so it's no problem like that. I said I never had really any glitches in the game at all. You know, there's some like sometimes there were flame stutters or like real big dips in performance and but like I said, if I can play 120 hours of Elden Ring with that happening, I can definitely play it through this game. Um, yeah. So, what would I rate this game? Fuck it, 10 out of 10. Fuck it, I don't care. Fuck it, 10 out of 10. Yeah, of course it has its problems. Of course it has a little bit of its issues. But what game doesn't? Every game has some jank in it. But when it comes to games that I have played in my life and what I like, this game is a 10 out of 10. When I beat this game, I wanted to go right back into playing it, but I said let me record my review of this game now while it's still fresh in my mind. But man, game masterpiece, 10 out of 10. Highly recommended if you have the money to play it, if you have the means or console to play it. Highly recommend this game. Highly recommend, especially if you're a fan of God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Demon, not Demon Souls, Devil May Cry, games like that. You will love this game. Absolutely love this game. I played the game in Chinese because I like playing games in the native language that it was made for, because it just feels more natural that way than playing it like in English, you know. But yeah, that's really all I got to say about this game. Almost freaking 30 minutes of me just ranting about this game. And I'm not done. I'm really not even done talking about this game, but I don't want this video to go any longer. So, well, until next time, Keeney Hoon out.